welcome back. Actually, just welcome. This is my first video. Today, anyway, we're going to be talking about Netflix's brand new series. Not brand new, but I think relatively underrated, Marianne. Now, this is a French language horror series. It's really original and really intense. I've heard some people say that Marianne is not scary, to which I call absolute bull. This is more of like it's a resonating fear, and it will stick with you for a long time. There's demonic possession, there's a lot of things that go down that really just feel like they crawl into your skin, and they stay there for a while. Now, the reason I'm making this video, even though it has been a while since Marianne premiered on Netflix, is because we cannot forget about this series. Netflix has not announced a second series, and I don't think I'm the only one here who agrees they need some closure. The cliffhanger at the end of the series bothers me at least once a week, and yeah, I just need to know what happens next. So before anything, let's get into the story. Marianne is a story of a horrifying inspiration come to life. The main character is Emma Lassimon, which, by the way, I don't have the best French accent, so please excuse me, but a lot of things just don't sound as good if I say them in my generic American accent. Now, Emma is a very successful French author. She is residing in Paris, but is originally from a small seaside town. The series of books that Emma writes is called Lizzie Lark, and it's about hunting down a demonic... It's all about Lizzie hunting down a demonic creature named Marianne. The show opens with her announcing that the book that she's just written is the final book in her series, and she just feels like she needs to write something else. She wants to do something other than horror. So the release that's coming up of her book in the Lizzie Lark series will be the last. While at the book signing, a woman who looks disheveled and tired and just completely run down shows up. And although Emma doesn't recognize her at first, it turns out that she's her very good childhood friend, Caroline, or Caro. And Caro is obviously from the small seaside town where Emma grew up. Now, this town is called Eldon, and in case you're wondering, no, it is not a real town. I did look it up. The series was shot on the northwest tip of France, which is Brittany. I feel really dumb. I don't know how to pronounce it. Now, Caro has come to see Emma with a very cryptic demand. So she claims that, essentially, Caro's own mother is obsessed with the Lizzie Lark books, and she has read them time upon time upon time again. And at first, Emma's just like, okay, cool, she's a super fan. She's a super fan. What Caro wants from Emma is that she go to Eldon and she set her mother straight and turn her back to normal. And of course, Emma hasn't been back home in 15 years. And she kind of is just calling BS on Caro until Caro takes out a beautifully cinched little skin pouch that her mother made for Emma. There's a lot of skin pouches in this one. And while Emma just chalks it up to Marianne doesn't exist, it's not my problem, she basically goes into work the next day at a publishing house that it looks like she and her assistant Camille work in, and Caro is there, and with one last threat to go back to Eldon, Caro hangs herself. With the hanging, of course, Emma does plan to go back to Eldon. She convinces Camille, again her assistant, to do so, and the two head off. When the two arrive, they go immediately to Caro's house, to her family home. Upon seeing Caro's mother, just like, wow. The woman is insane. She's crazy looking. It's very unsettling. She looks like she hasn't changed clothes or taken a shower in a pretty long time. She looks a hot mess. And she kind of moves in this weird way that's like a demon and an old lady mixed with a lizard. Does that make sense? It doesn't. You need to watch the show, but you'll see, oh my gosh, yeah, she kind of moves like a lizard. Upon entering the house, Emma and Camille notice that there are hundreds upon hundreds of copies of the Lizzie Lark books within the home, and that they're all in different languages, from Korean, Italian, French, English, German. Caro's mother gushes about how much she loves Emma's books and how she can't wait for the next series to come out, to which Emma replies that, of course, she's done writing Lizzie Lark series and she's going to write something else. To which Caro's mother has the audacity to ask, "Can you write anything else?" So she challenges Emma tries to convince her to keep writing. The whole situation, just to sum it up, gets really weird and uncomfortable pretty quickly. The old lady / Marianne pees herself, and then she makes innocent Camille touch it, and then like things get really weird and there's threats. As the two girls leave the house, the crazed woman basically yells after them to go check on Emma's parents because she has already paid them a visit, and remember, she never leaves empty-handed. Now, as far as a detailed episodic description of the show goes, I'm going to stop there. That kind of leads to the basis of everything in the show that happens. I feel like that's the most important stuff anyway, that leads up to the rest of the show. Now, as it does have 8 episodes at about 45 minutes per episode, I could go on for days about this show. As the show goes on, there's an obvious blur between dream and reality, which makes sense because Marianne used to just show up in Emma's nightmares as a kid. So obviously the line for her gets really blurred and she can't tell what's real and what's fake. What I really want to focus on right now is the ending, because like I said, it really bothers me that there's no talk of a season 2 because the cliffhanger at the end is a crime. It is a crime to leave us like that and then not discuss where the series is going to go next. So as viewers know, Emma is a very abrupt and deeply insecure character. She drinks through most of her insecurities. She's kind of an alcoholic. She's a little sporadic and irresponsible just because she doesn't know how to cope with the pain that she's felt in the past. Although she has all the success of being a very successful author, she has no real friendship connections or family relations anymore. Just pooped outside my window. So when Emma heads back to Eldon, she meets up with an old friend group. And the one important person we're going to focus on is Sebastian. So basically, when Emma goes back and Sebi comes and greets her and is friendly to her again, she kind of rekindles some old feelings, but it's unrequited because Sebi is very much married, has a stepson, and has a heavily impregnated wife who's about to give birth at any moment. So he's kind of like, no. But also, their romance was 15 years ago. They were just teenagers. And the fact that Emma thinks that they can go ahead and just pick up where they left off kind of speaks to her immature character and the fact that she never coped with what happened to her. And Emma, therefore, is determined to have Sebi. She's determined to sleep with him. And she looks at every advance towards him as a way to test his marriage. And she hates Sebi's wife, Sophie, just because she's his wife, so. In the same episode where we are thought is the demise of Marianne, we see that Sebi comes in through the window of Emma's room. It's a very teenage-esque scene, and I think that that's kind of symbolic to what Emma is clinging to, is like their teenage romance. So Sebi essentially does that thing that they all do in the movies where they climb up the window instead of just going to the front door because they're grown-ups at this point, where he climbs up to her bedroom window and knocks. And so of course she lets him in and they have this big heart-to-heart. Emma again pushes it and says that although Sebi is married, he's not at home with his wife. He's there in her room. Then Sebi asks to kiss Emma, which seems very out of character. Emma warns him that if he kisses her, it's going down. To which he submits and starts to take off his clothes. Like, I don't know how Emma didn't kind of question this. Like, it's kind of one of those be careful what you wish for things. She was so blinded by it actually happening and so selfish that, you know, this is all she's wanted since she's come back to Eldon. And she doesn't even question, like, why the sudden shift. I don't see how she couldn't be a little more suspect, because, like, if an evil witch were after me, or like if I had just defeated one, I would be a little suspect, I'm just saying. And a couple days later, Camille and Emma are on their way back home. So she makes a stop at Sebi's house beforehand, and she thanks him for the other night. To which she's very confused about, and she ends up just telling him what happened. He reacts really negatively and tells her, assures her that that was not him. At this, Emma is very obviously scared, and she's confused because if it wasn't Sebi, Who was it? Emma just chalks it up to being a dream. Like, again, I said, it's kind of hard to tell what's real and what's not sometimes with Emma. But on the road trip, Emma becomes very ill and starts vomiting. So Camille basically gets out at one of the stops where Emma gets sick and goes into a pharmacy to get a pregnancy test. Emma thinks it's ridiculous because she hasn't done anything in months and that the night with Sebi was just a dream. But Camille, who is now mute, kind of by choice, kind of probably not, eerily shakes her head and hands her the test. And lo and behold, so essentially we just need a lot of answers. So don't sleep on the show. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it. Let's get everyone watching it so that we can like up the ratings so that we get a season 2 after this whole run is over. Now, I really want to hear your theories about what happened, about the night with Sebi, about the ending, if there's going to be a season 2. So if you want to comment, like, go ahead. If you want to, like, not, that's cool too, I guess. Well, anyway, I will see you guys later, and thanks for watching.